Howdy everyone, this is MacLeod, this is the Asgaard SMP Season 2, and welcome back to episode number 14. In last episode we did some pretty cool stuff, including this dead tree, the start to this waterfall, and this big pool of purple down here at the bottom. We've gotten several layers done on this already, and it's looking pretty cool, but we've got quite a few more layers to go, so we're going to need a whole lot more glass. I've got a little bit right here, but that's certainly not going to be enough. So first things first, I got to repair up the shovel, because there's going to be a lot of digging, and the shovel's going to be paying for it. I'm only about halfway done with that pit, and we've leveled a large portion of this desert, which means there's not going to be a whole lot left when I'm done with it. The pool is now 11 layers deep, and this looks absolutely incredible. I love the reflections because of the shaders, and the shadow of the chain there makes it look super epic, and you just saw some of the sun rays peeking in there. I absolutely love it, and now it connects up to the waterfall as well. So you guys saw that at the beginning of this one, but it was just kind of floating there, and now it comes on down here, follows along the sort of natural shape of the depression here, and comes straight on down to the bottom where it looks something like this. And I'm so happy with that. We are still going to add a bit more to make these waterfalls look a little bit more lifelike, but as of right now I'm super pleased with how this has come out. And the first change that we're making here is to make this thing a little bit thicker. We added some extra glass of a different shade. We added some purple in the back there. We also added a few pinks and even some white paints toward the bottom to make it look like it's splashing up, and like that water would be a little bit rougher, a little bit foamier. I say water, but I mean purple ooze. We haven't really decided what this actually is yet. Some kind of toxic chemical, but I think that looks pretty good. There's still a little bit more I want to add to it, including a couple more white bits, but I'm really happy with the direction this is going. And for this next bit, we're going to need to pop into the nether and up onto the roof. And look at that, there's already some sticking out of the chest here. Sometimes these things just kind of go all over the place, but we do have this honeycomb farm, and we are going to need to collect up, so that should be more than enough probably. Haven't been here in a while. Go past the iron farm and up one more, and there's no string. And adding those candles in here makes it look like there's a little bit more variance and some bubbles splashing about where we have some of these floating ones like this. Pretty happy with how that looks, but there's still yet another thing that I want to add to this. Don't mind if I do. And I thought this would be pretty cool to show off at night because we get this really cool light effect with the campfires down here. So we've got those on top of a hay bale to make the smoke taller, and then we've got them covered in magenta carpet so that they blend in a little bit better. So you got a couple of them in here. It looks pretty good, I think. Let's go ahead and grab this flint and steel and see if turning on these candles makes a difference as well. Huh? And if I'm being honest, I don't think I really like seeing the flames in there. I think that kind of distracts from the purple. And now that I'm pretty happy with how that design has come together, we can do all of the other waterfalls. There are going to be a bunch of them though, and it's going to take quite some time. So I'm not going to do all that right this moment. I'm just going to kind of work away at it when I have time in between doing other things. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the next step now, which is to make an addendum to how this lake is set up at the bottom here. It looks really cool. It's purple, it's foggy, there's a ton of layers, but we can do a little bit more with this. Down underneath, if we add some light, this whole thing's gonna glow, and it's gonna make it look like it's sort of like radioactive, and I think it's gonna be a really cool touch, especially with having the light in the base of the waterfall there. It'll kind of make it just all tie together. So back into the nether we go, and off to the gold farm where we've been doing some piglin bartering and collecting a ton of crying obsidian. Oh good, we actually do have quite a bit here. So we've got a bunch of it over in the pit now. We're in free cam mode. Let's go ahead on up and see what this looks like. I waited till nighttime so that we could get a look of what this would be like in the dark here. And that is kind of dull, but I think it's better. I mean, if we compare this as like our side A to like a B over here, it's definitely brighter, and I like the little bit of texture. This is my hole to get out, so ignore that for the moment, but I do like how that looks. So let's go ahead and spread this out all over the entire pit. Also, if you ever wanted a crazy view, this is absolutely it. And yet another pretty crazy thing to look at, especially with all the reflection. That's a lot of crying obsidian. Now I've worked myself a path in here, and I'm just going to do my best to put it back the way it was. And now we've got jump boost over here. I specifically dug my hole on the side because that we would have that. And now we can hopefully just work our way back up. And oh boy, I was right. That looks super cool. I absolutely love having the lights under there. This is so much better than I initially anticipated it was going to look. And using FreeCam from out here, pretty cool as well. And for a quick update here, I have expanded the black outward a little bit to prepare for all these additional waterfalls so that we do keep it within that boundary and make it all blend together pretty well. We have a bunch of waterfalls in here. This took so long, but I'm really happy with how these look. We're popping into FreeCam here so that I can show you some of the patterns that are going on. We do still have to do some of these one-offs. We have like these single offshoots here, but I'm really happy with how these are going. And like I said, there is a pattern to these. This is a mixture of magenta and purple glass, and the purple glass is consistently in, back, and underneath the magenta to give a sort of depth to it and make it look like it's actually flowing downward and not just kind of randomly placed. So I'm really happy with how the other ones that are already done look. Now we just got to make all these match those, and hopefully they blend in pretty well. As I'm sitting here on this beautiful day, I am taking a moment to reflect how the server is technically a few versions behind. We're not even on version 1.21.5 yet, where we had creakings and pale oak wood introduced, let alone 1.21.6, which is coming out soon. And if you haven't been following the update schedule for that, I have an entire playlist of snapshots where I've been going over pretty much every snapshot from week to week. This long list of mods that become very cumbersome to maintain from version to version, especially when you talk about running it not only single player but also on the server, and there's also a handful of data packs which need to be managed as well. And a lot of these add quite a bit of value to my game. For instance, the Armor Poser mod gives me a GUI which allows me to configure armor stands in a way that's much more meaningful than the Statues data pack, which used to be done through a book and clicking buttons in there. The Audio Player mod allows us access to custom audio on goat horns and music discs. Auto Clicker allows me to automatically left or right click without actually having to hold anything down on my mouse or keyboard. Beehive Tooltip gives me some extra information when I have a beehive in any kind of container. Better Third Person changes the F5 camera to make it look a little bit more like other games. Better F3 adds colors and customization options to the F3 screen. Blur Plus adds blur to certain containers to make it match the rest of the game and give it a much more modern feel. Bobby allows the rendering of cache chunks across chunks that are far away from the player. Camera Utils is what I use to zoom in and out. Chat Heads shows player heads in chat next to their messages. Chunky is a mod I use in single player to generate chunks far away from me without ever actually having to go into those chunks. Entity model features and entity texture features are used to support the Fresh Animations resource pack, which makes mobs look a little bit more liquid. FreeCam allows me to separate the camera from the player, allowing me to look far away or at other people's stuff and just see what I'm building from a different perspective. Iris is used to load and manage shader packs. Lightmatica allows me to design a schematic in one world and carry it over to another world to rebuild it there. Lithium is a performance mod. Mini HUD offers me a bunch of overlays such as light values and beacon ranges, although there's a ton of other stuff that it can do as well. Mod Menu lets me actually access a list of all the mods installed as well as configure their settings. No Chat Reports disables the message when you join certain servers. That's just really annoying, and I like to see that not pop up. Replay mod allows me to configure a camera path after something has happened, and this is how I do most of my time lapses. Server Resource Pack Checker caches server resource packs so I don't have to re-download them every time I open a world. Shulker Box Tooltip allows me to see what's inside of a Shulker Box. Shulker Plus allows me to attach items to the outside of them or rename them. Simple Voice Chat allows me to communicate with other players in game. This also needs to be set up on the server. Sodium is another mod for optimization. And finally, World Edit is something that I use in single player a lot when I'm trying to build quickly. It allows me to move or copy objects, but there's a ton of other features as well. I'm just not very good at it, so I've really only scratched the surface with what it's capable of. So what do you guys think? Is it more important to mod the game and be exactly what I want, or should I be limiting the use of those so that I can follow along with the updates a lot quicker and actually play on the most recent version? And along those same lines, how important are shaders? Do you like seeing them, or would you prefer that my game look a lot more like yours does? So I wanted to mention that here because I get a lot of comments about the mods I use, in particular the FreeCam mod and the shaders that I'm running, but in the meantime here, I've gotten all of these waterfalls done. It's absolutely insane. I've now placed like 57,000 magenta stained glass or something like that. It's absolutely incredible how much I have done here. Obviously none of these waterfalls are flowing downward yet, so we still do have to do those, but that's going to have to come at another time because I've spent long enough on this one so far. So anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed. Go ahead and subscribe for more, and I'll see y'all next time.